Prepare to be amazed. And now, introducing your host, Steve Lags.
Welcome to another episode of Steve Lags Unfiltered. I'm super pumped today because I got a dear friend here, my friend Ephraim Ebstein. Now, Ephraim is not only a dear friend of mine, he's in the 10X community. That's how I've met him. But he's also the co-founder and CEO of Fit Solutions, which is an IT and cybersecurity company. This is a business that TRC has used in the past. They're a tremendous organization. He really runs a 10X organization there. Ephraim, welcome to the show today.
Thank you. I'm so excited. I love the studio. It looks great. It looks really nice. Yeah. And it's amazing seeing you in Florida and just what's happened with your business in the last 2 years. I remember we were at your house and you're like, I'm moving, I'm selling my house. And probably a lot of listeners don't have, but you had probably the raddest house in Pennsylvania. I feel like it was so cool. And I'm like, you're selling this? How? Why? But it turned out to be a great move for you.
Yeah. Well, I think that one of the things you need to do is, when you get rid of some of the things that you value the most and start over, I think that's really, and get out of your comfort zone. And one of the best things you can do is move. Yeah. And I think the growth opportunities that end up occurring when you relocate and move. But I knew there was, for us, it was about bigger opportunities. Mm-hmm. When we built that house, we're like, oh, this is our forever home. And really, I'll never say I build a forever home again. Yeah. Because you get to a level and then you accomplish it and you enjoy it. And then you're, all right, what's next? Right. And I agree. And I know, you live that way too. So
yeah, I try not to get, one thing that I always think about is like, if I never died and I was living forever. Right. Everything would be temporary, even a house, mm-hmm. right? You would live there so long that it would become disposable at a certain point. Right. So then everything is, everything that's material doesn't mean as much, right? Right. And so I think sometimes people put too much emphasis on the possession.
Yeah, because the value of a possession is if it provides you experiences. Yes. So when we think about a house or a home, it's the experiences we're going to have in that house and that home. Mm-hmm. And so for us in that particular home, we had a lot of amazing experiences living on a 100-acre farm in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Me being able to be an outdoors person and everything. But we live those experiences. We're looking for new experiences. So, all right, you need to get the new thing that's going to provide the new experiences, and don't get attached to things. Get attached to experiences in life that you want to create.
The moment. Yeah, I agree with that. It's about people, experiences, freedom, right, love.
Yeah. So, and it's you think about the journey, and you've had an experience with Fit Solutions. Yeah. How long ago did you start Fit Solutions?
So I started 11 years ago. We just passed our 11-year anniversary, but I kind of count that because that's when we got the first customer. Okay. But it probably was more like 12 that I, in my heart, made the decision that I was going to do this.
Where you fully committed.
Where I committed to it.
So you took a leap then.
Yeah. Yeah. So I when I started it, I had a co-founder, a business partner, great guy, dear friend of mine. His name's Joel. And he started asking me, we were working out a lot together in the morning. He's like, dude, why don't you start your own business? Why haven't you done it already? Why this? Why that? So he asked a lot of why questions. And I always did want to start a business. In fact, I tried doing something entrepreneurial in my late teens, and it didn't go so good. It was an MLM, and by the way, I'm not against MLMs. I think a lot of them are run really well, but this was run very poorly, and I felt kind of burned by it. And so I was like, I'm just going to get a safer job, but it didn't quite quench that. I also had an uncle that in Germany. And unfortunately, I didn't get to spend as much time with him because of the distance in Germany. But every time I was around him, from a business side, he had a lot of influence on entrepreneurship because he came from absolutely dirt, like nothing. Mm-hmm. And he built an amazing business and did a lot of great things. So I always kind of saw that and I was like, that'd be so I don't know, I just felt like I could do it. Like I should do that.
Right. So he inspired that spirit. In you.
Yeah.
So that's early in life, or
that was early in life. Yeah, that was early because
see, for me too, I was always getting inspired early. I always knew I was destined to be an entrepreneur and a business owner.
I had that same feeling early on. I was like, oh, I'm gonna do that. Like it was, I don't know. I didn't know how. I didn't.
Right.
It didn't like keep me up at night thinking about it. But I was just like, I'm gonna do that.
Right.
But then later, I feel like a lot of outside influences, like take the safe path, do this, get the job, go to school, security. And so when I played around with the entrepreneurship and it didn't go so well, then I did take that path. But then I was turning 30. Joel started saying, hey, why don't you start a business? And I was like, you know what? I should. And if I don't do it now, when am I going to do it? Because I was turning 30.
This is great. So you got Joel's in your life barking in your ear. Why not? Why not? That's the right kind of. That's the kind of talk you want.
That's the kind of talk you want. Those type of influences. Those are the type of friends you want in your life. Right.
So he saw something bigger, and
he saw something bigger. And at the time, I was like, you know what? I want to do this. And I said, if I do it, like, would you do it with me? And so he
was like, all right, then you're coming along.
Yeah, you're coming along. So that's what we ended up doing. And by the way, as we were working on the business, it's funny. Most people, when they start the business, they just go like create the website, create the logo. We went straight into like creating agreements, of course, creating the LLC, creating our pricing plans, all these things. I did not know how we were going to get our first customer, but an opportunity came around to get a customer. And I told him, I say, you know what? I don't have a website and logo, but I got everything else. I got the contracts. I know how to do service. I got the team. Mm-hmm. We started like recruiting people that could work on the team, even though I didn't have work yet. And we got the contract. We launched. And it still was one of the, even launching with that first contract and me quitting the job, it was one of the scariest things I ever did because I didn't have money saved up in the bank. I was making good money, but I was living paycheck to paycheck.
Okay.
But I was, thinking about it. It's like, what is the worst that could happen? Worst is it doesn't go well. I have to beg for my job back. I have to work at McDonald's or Starbucks or something. It's not that bad.
Right.
It's no one's dying.
You didn't have a lot to lose.
I had nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And I think that if you're in a position, it's a lot harder when you have a mortgage and you have kids and you got, all these dependents. So if you have so much more to lose, it's a lot harder. If you're in a position where you have nothing to lose, that is the absolute best time to make the move.
Right.
And when you should.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to ask you, were you rich growing up? Like, did you come from money? Like, was your family well off? Like, what was that like, your experience?
We were definitely, we were middle class, mm-hmm. and we occasionally got a taste of luxury.
Right.
But we were usually, my family was very middle class. I remember times that we did struggle for money. Mm-hmm. We were never in poverty.
Right.
But my parents, like, our vacations would be a camping trip.
Right.
Right. And but I do remember there were times, so my grandparents were frugal savers, this is on my dad's side. And once I said, my aunt and uncle, and my grandparents lived in Germany, and my aunt and uncle, they had money, a lot of it, because he was a entrepreneur. So my grandparents would want to, of course, see the family, so they would pay for us to fly out there. So those were really the only flights or vacations we got, is because they paid for us to go visit them. And then when we were there, I got to see my aunt and uncle, and they would take us to like a really nice dinner or something like that. And so I got those like brief moments of a little bit of luxury, but that wasn't how we lived.
Yeah.
I got to see it. I got a little bit of experience with it when we were on vacation, see my grandparents.
So you got to see the contrast between that.
I got to see the contrast. But my dad was a hard worker. My mom was a very hard worker too, but average, super middle class, more of the safe route.
Yeah. So safe route, and you mentioned frugal saver.
Yeah.
So like that mindset of saving.
Yeah.
Like, what are your thoughts about that?
Man.
Do you have a saving mindset? Like, do you think like, okay, I got to save, or like, how, when you're going through life, what's your mindset?
Yeah. My mindset has completely changed through a lot of the education that I've gotten from mentors, right? Mm-hmm. Because you don't learn this in school. You don't learn it from the people around you. Maybe if you have very successful entrepreneurial parents, that might be the only way you learn it, or from other mentors if you seek them.
Right.
And so the concept of saving has gone completely out the door. I see money as currency, right? What is currency? It's a current. It has to move.
Right.
So, you buy something from me, I have to go buy something from someone else. Now I can kind of control that current, and I can like funnel some of that current to me.
Right.
And so it's a tool, a temporary tool that's flowing through temporarily. Now I want to flow as much as I can through during my working hours and make it productive.
Right.
But, saving's the loser's game, especially with if you saved $1 million last 3 years ago, how much is that? What's the buying power on the $1 million now?
Right. Yeah. It's depreciated probably like 20% or 15%.
Yeah.
And
eggs were $5 a carton and now they're 12. Like what you can't even buy the same stuff. So saving it would have been much better to be strategic and investing it in something that can outpace inflation.
Right. So that's like having the abundance mindset versus scarcity where, okay, this is all I'm going to get. I got to protect and save it versus, okay, I'm going to take it. I'm going to go invest it. I'm going to move it because it's going to keep moving, right?
Yes, it has to move. Yeah. And the best thing to do is to figure out how to use it to buy assets. Now, when you have no money, you're like, well, I can't really invest much. Maybe I can play in crypto. But the number one thing that I believe everyone should invest in is their own education and skill set.
Yeah.
So you can buy that. You can buy a book on Amazon. And I remember hearing this, somebody said, it's kind of a shame people spend $100 to buy some Nikes.
Right.
But they won't spend $5 to buy like Sam Walton's book on how he built Walmart on Amazon.
Right.
And read that. And when he said that, I was like, man, that's so true. Why have I not bought that book? Why have I not read it? Why have I not done better? Because once you have the skills, you can then you can know how to produce money.
Right.
So that's what I needed.
Yeah. So when you think about investing in yourself, if you're unwilling to invest $10 or $15 on a book or maybe like a monthly, like a program for a month.
Yeah. Or go into a boot camp, flying out to an event. And sometimes people go to one and they're like, oh, I learned nothing. It was a bust. So what? Go to another one, different one.
Yeah. Right, because
eventually you'll find one that's going to change your life.
Yeah, because every book you read is not going to be amazing. Like I have all my impactful books back there, but I got a pile of them that weren't, but I needed to go through them all to find the good ones.
Yes.
But by networking and being around like-minded people, then you start learning, hey, this is the conference you need to go to, the event you need to go to, or the book you need to read. We were having a conversation earlier. So if you're willing to invest $15 in a pack of cigarettes, but you're not willing to invest $15 in a book, well, where do you think you're going to go in life?
Nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to be right. Grant says this, to get something you've never had before, you have to do something you've never done before.
Right.
If you just keep doing the same thing, it's going to be the same result. So figuring out how to get a different result is a skill. And action, of course. You need more than just the skill. So
you're a great example of investing yourself. But talk a little bit about how you invest in your business, because you know, as a business owner, same thing.
Yeah.
Same concept applies. If you're a business owner, you never invest in it and you're just spending and wasting all your money, you're never going to grow and develop and nurture that business or the people in that business.
Yeah, that's huge. So I didn't have a lot of financial education, how to run a profit and loss statement, cash balance. Those were all things I learned later after I had the business. And it took me a few years to kind of learn that piece. So when we started the business, I lived very frugally. I didn't live above my means. And then every time we had more money, I'd hire another employee. Now, if I were to do it again, I might be more process driven and then hire employees.
Right.
I didn't know how to do that. But very early on, I was investing. So I had a conversation with another owner in the exact same space I do. He started a year before me, and his business is like $3 to $4 million a year, and mine's we're probably going to close the year around 30.
So 10 more than 10.
Yeah, 10. And we had the same amount of time. Well, the way he was living is he knew profit very well, but he's taking all the money. he has like a crazy EBITDA number, but then he's not hiring positions and duplicating himself. He's doing the work. It's going straight to him, but he can't scale because he's not investing in people, investing in training, doing all of those things.
He probably owns a job.
He owns a job, a very high paid job.
He doesn't own a business.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. And now he's trying to make that shift, but he wasted 11 years, 12 years. Now he's finally like trying to come around and do it.
Right.
And then another thing is investing in training. We spend money training all of our staff 15 minutes a day. So if you take that over 100 employees, that's 62 hours a year, roughly, of training on the clock that they do that we're paying for, not even counting the cost of the training, times that by 100, 62,000.
You're good at math, better than me, man.
Better than me, I don't know, something like that. Okay, and then, so that is a lot of money. That's non-billable time that they could be out servicing a customer. And I'm saying, no, I want you to train. And then I have to pay for all the training itself. So, and then we send people to workshops and boot camps, and anybody that wants any book, I'll buy it for them.
Right.
All right. They want the, Rich Dad, Poor Dad book, 10X Rule, buy it, no problem.
And then you're invested in your goals too.
Yeah. Yeah. And so there's a huge investment into the staff to help them achieve their goals because, some employees would rather take the extra $1,000, but I know that's really in the big picture not going to get them $1,000 more or, $30,000 more.
Right.
What's better?
Yeah, it's thinking small.
Yeah.
You and I, we've been growing together and learning a lot of the lessons that you're talking about together. And you think about learning how to think big,
yes,
and not think small. If it's like get back to like the $15 book, you don't have a $15 problem.
No.
You've got like $100,000 problem.
Yes.
$15 is not going to solve your problems today.
No.
The $100,000 or $1 million is what's going to solve problems. So, when you talk about like someone wanting another $1,000 versus, develop myself so that I'm capable of making tens of thousands of dollars more in my lifetime, hundreds of thousands of dollars. What's your experience with that learning how to really think big and stop the small thinking because we don't have small problems. These are really bigger future problems we're trying to solve.
Man, it's such a big thing. So I already naturally had big thinking as a child, like dreams that I was going to have. And then as you get older, you get the influences of, you start to temper that, right?
Yeah.
You should set more realistic goals, right?
Be reasonable.
And you're like, oh yeah, I guess you're right. So you start to do that. But then the other thing is sometimes I'd have goals, but they were just, I don't know, like your imagination running wild. You never actually put it down on paper or got super specific. So that was a skill I learned later. And I remember being asked, it was actually for our 10X 360, the first one we ever attended. It was during the pandemic. And they asked us to put like our personal, professional, financial goals down on paper. And I was like, oh, that's easy. I know what I want. And then once I started writing, I'm like, man, that took me a lot longer to do it. And it still was smaller, but then I wanted it to get bigger. And so the bigger I thought, the faster goals would start getting achieved,
right? Which
was amazing. And, it's hard to experience. It's hard to explain it to people that haven't done it.
Right.
You just like do it, write it.
And what you're talking about being very intentional about goal setting.
Yeah. And writing the goals, this is what I learned from the 10X rule, is writing the goals as if they've already happened. So not that I want, but I've done, this is the situation. So that was a huge thing. And then just doing big goals, going back to my business, like one of the beautiful things that's happened in the business, not only have I achieved a lot of goals, but I have employees that from the time we started, maybe 5-6 years ago, making $60K, some of those are making well over $200,000 now. One of them $250,000. And it's awesome. Like really cool. And I'm like, okay, I've done it for a few. Why can't I do it for 100 more?
Right.
Right. But we obviously need to scale to make that possible.
What does that mean to you? You know, because you have a very successful business, and there's a lot of people that would tell you, "Hey, Ephraim, you've arrived. You've done enough. Like you should, you know, kind of ease up a little bit, put your foot on the brake a little bit, and enjoy it, and smell the roses, and just kind of take the ride right now."
Yeah.
But why don't you do that?
So I definitely do stop and smell the roses. I enjoy it. Like
Okay.
I do, but I'm not slowing down because for a couple of reasons.
So what's the difference? Like, so
Yeah.
see, your experience is you are doing that, but from the outside looking in, there are a lot of people who will not see that with you.
Yeah.
Like how do you experience that? Because I'm with you here.
But here's the thing. The people that are saying that are also working a full-time job, probably hating their job.
And why do you think people hate their job?
Because it's not getting them towards their goals and it's not impacting anybody's life. They have to do it to survive.
So they don't have purpose behind their work.
Yeah, they don't have purpose behind their work. And they also, it's, you know, unfulfilling because of that. You know, it's unfulfilling in the job. Look, if they work 40 hours and I work 40 hours, why don't I make my 40 hours as productive as humanly possible?
Right.
Right. And I'm not saying I limit my hours necessarily just to 40, but like if you're going to work anyway, why would you not go all in?
Right.
Right. Why wouldn't you go 100%? Why? That's
because the price of not is more work than the price of doing it.
100%. 100%. And now I can help other people in the process. It's even better.
Right.
Now it even has more meaning than just me and my family. So I think.
Do you feel responsible for the people that work for you?
Absolutely. We recently went through a huge change. You ever seen the movie Schindler's List?
Yes, but a long time ago.
Okay, but if you remember, he had that factory and he's like trying to save as many Jews as he can.
Right.
Because they're going to get, now that's the life and death situation. Obviously, I'm not comparing my business to what Schindler did, but he's like, can we fit a couple more?
Right.
Like he was always like, he felt like this immense responsibility. And I don't know why I feel that, but I definitely feel that. I feel like responsible to every single person.
Right.
That works in my organization. Like,
see, now that's leadership because you're there to, you're a servant leader.
Yeah.
You're there to serve the people you lead.
Absolutely. Like, I'll give you an example. We had, we're in a huge transitional time in my business, which is, exciting and amazing.
Right.
We have this customer that we've serviced for a decade. Fantastic company. I love them to death. Their name's PAX. They operate and run skilled nursing facilities.
Right.
And they've grown from 2 locations to currently 206. They went from nothing to the 3rd largest operator in the United States. And every single building we onboarded, we helped them through every life cycle of the IT and cybersecurity space. So when we were everything to the point that we were helping them hire their first IT director, help doing more internally. And then they were like, man, we love you guys, but at our size, we need to do more internal. And our contract was coming up in a year. And they say, look, we want to find a way to work together, but we have to do more inside. And so I said, instead of letting the contract just run out, I said, why don't we do this? Why don't you do an acquisition of sorts? We end the contract early and you take a chunk of the staff that have been servicing you. And now you have and our IP,
Right.
our processes, everything. And you have an amazing IT department, turnkey for your size.
Right.
And we can then still support it in whatever auxiliary things you need. And it was a great deal for them because they didn't have to do it the hard way, instantly successful. And it gave us capital to grow. But in the process, I was also thinking about all the staff because I was like, man, if this contract comes to an end, I might have to do layoffs. And so through this thing, I insured every single person's job,
Right.
except for 3. And 2 of those, I helped find a job somewhere else.
Great.
So there was a net loss of one job.
Right.
And honestly, that was probably a job that needed to go anyway. And then everyone else had a job there. Everyone had a job here. We got capital to be able to do some acquisitions and do some cool things. They have a turnkey department. So I don't know. That was a top of mind because the first thought that came into my mind when they told me this, is like, my employees,
Mm-hmm.
what do we do? Because I was going to be fine.
Yeah, right. Of course. Yeah.
But I was thinking about all the staff.
Right.
So I was able to negotiate a win-win deal for everybody. And they're happy. We're happy. All the employees are happy. We're good.
You know, I'm just sitting here, I'm thinking about all the interviewing we do and the questions and information that candidates request when they're interviewing for a job. And I just want to send that message out to people who are looking to work for a business. You need to go find out who the business owner is and find out if it's a guy like this or a woman like this, because you want to be working for a business owner that you know has ethics, has compassion for the people that are working for them, is investing in the people that are working for the organization, is looking to grow the opportunities for the people working in the organization. It's amazing how many people, you know, come in and look for a career opportunity, but they're not investigating who is the actual owner of the business, especially in small, medium-sized enterprises. And that's the beauty of a small business like ours. You didn't make those decisions based on what the shareholders in a public company directed you to do as the CEO of the company.
100%.
You did it like, okay, hey, this is I control this business. Yeah. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I feel the ethical and right thing to do is for the long term. So you can make those decisions. Like in that manner, we're a large business that's publicly traded. No, not a chance.
No, not a chance.
You see like 15,000 layoffs just like that. Like it goes in an email.
Yeah, it's funny when we've had employees that have worked for us, and then they go to a large company like that, and they're like, oh, it's like Intuit or something. It's such a great, it's so much more secure. I think they feel like. I'm like, dude, they don't make money for one quarter. You're gonna snap their finger, lay off 1,000 people. They don't care.
You're just a number then.
Yeah.
I was
like, that's completely unsecure.
You know all the people that work for you, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
I know every single name of everyone that works here.
Yeah, I know every single person.
And then when we get hired someone new, I'm like, hey, wait, I see a new name here. What is that?
Yeah, I always reach out to them and welcome them. And you know what's funny? So what I've started doing, because I'm not part of the interview process for most of the roles anymore, once they get hired, I usually will call them within their first. Sometimes it's on the second week that I call them, but I try to do it on the first. And I just want to welcome them. And the one question I always like to ask now is like, hey, what was it that you wanted to work at Fit Solutions? And one thing we started doing, I know you guys are doing it too, in the interview process, the last step is they have to do a core values presentation where they're presenting core values to our core values to us, not what they are, we know what they are, but how they would apply the core values if they got the job or how they've applied them in the past, so that we can kind of get to know them. And it even comes across, and it's like every single person, I shouldn't say every single, about 80% of the people that I ask will say something that has to do with the core values.
Right.
And it's an open-ended question like, hey, why did you want to work at Fit? And they're all like, it was something about the core values. It was, I've never been, asked that. And when you guys kind of said that, I knew I had to work there. Yeah. Like that kind of thing. So it's this amazing thing that's happened that we've been attracting. And as I walk through your office, like I'm super impressed with every person you have here, and Anna at the front desk. And I'm like, he's attracting them. And you even said, I've never had an assistant like this, right? Executive assistant. It's like, well, you guys attracted to each other because of those values, because you got clear on it. Right. And then she just it come in, and there was probably 1,000 other assistants that applied for that job that are like, heck no, I don't want nothing to do with this. This is too much accountability or whatever.
Yeah. So you have complete clarity on your culture. Yeah. And one of the ways of accomplishing that is getting really crystal clear on the core values, but making sure the entire team is aligned on that. Yeah. So you bring people in that way. But when what you put out in the world will do two things. It will attract more of the same and repel what you're not. Yes. So being transparent and getting yourself out there in this world, being open to it, when you're communicating with people, using social media for it. Right. You put out in the world, you're going to get more of. Yes. So you just bring it in, and that's what you end up doing. You create this culture. It's strong. And then you're sharing it with the world. You're clearly and effectively communicating, and you're bringing more of that together. Yes. And then there's just so much harmony. lack of drama in an organization, when you have that, it's just amazing how it just moves. And as soon as someone falls out of alignment with your culture, immediately it becomes very obvious, because
Very obvious.
it's like they're there with their hand raised in a group of people waving, hey, I'm out of alignment. It becomes really easy to identify.
And the
that.
other employees weed them out now.
Yeah.
I don't have to be the bad guy,
Right.
right? Not that any of them are really the bad guy, but if someone's not aligned, they should find somewhere where they are aligned.
That's right.
And it's not this organization. And the other, it starts to become very apparent, obviously to me, but to everybody else.
Yeah.
And so they'll kind of either, either the employee will leave or they'll remove them from the team before it gets too bad. It doesn't take like, it used to take us, we go a year, sometimes more, before someone that wasn't a fit no longer worked at the organization. That doesn't happen anymore.
So I've noticed that you became a lot more decisive. This makes me remind me of how much more decisive you become in your decision making, because I've watched you grow over the past few years while we've known each other. Yeah. So how does that help you with, like, not only professionally, but personally, like financially making investments, making decisions? You had to make a big decision with this long-time valuable customer. Yeah.
I started practicing making fast decisions, which I wasn't before, right? I was more of like, if I was buying a car, I would do a ton of research or anything. Maybe car's a bad example, because you probably it's fun researching cars. But
it depends what kind of car.
It depends what kind of car it is. But I would spend a lot of time.
Do you know I do very little research?
Because you make fast decisions. That's why.
Yeah. I bought a really nice Mercedes GT 53, but I made that decision in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that didn't come naturally to me. So I had to start practicing it, and I started practicing it on little things. What are we going to eat? What are we going to do? And then I started everything faster. And you know what? Deep down, you kind of know what the answer is the first second. You don't. Right. Most decisions do not take weeks and months of analyzation.
Yeah.
In a few seconds, you know what to do. And if you just do it, you're removing so much time out of the equation, and stuff just starts happening in your life. A lot of people don't move forward because they haven't made a decision.
Right.
They're still waffling on, little teeny decisions, and they never make it because they are afraid of being wrong.
Right.
Your success ratio is going to be just as high as it was before, maybe even higher. So I just started making faster and faster decisions.
Yeah, and the sooner you make that decision, the sooner you can benefit from the right decision.
That's
still going to make wrong decisions, because you're never going to be right 100% of the time.
And if you make a wrong decision faster, you can solve it too.
That's right.
Yeah, you're not like
So so when you make a wrong decision, you're going to have to provide a solution to the wrong decision.
You can make another decision to make a change.
Yeah. So let's create the problem faster, so I can solve the problem faster.
Yeah. Yeah. So it made that's a huge impact in my life, is making fast decisions.
Yeah.
And I think about that all the time when I'm making decisions, and it becomes a reflex. Like, you went in there, you're like, yeah, that's a good car. I like it. Let's go.
Right.
I want to buy it.
And same thing with hiring too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like, okay, I go through a process. They went through the process. All right, good. But I'm very methodical through that process of making sure that we have a right match.
Yes.
Right. And it's not just what's good for Fit Solutions. It's what's good for Fit Solutions and the potential new employee.
Yeah. You're saying hiring. Let's give that as a fast decisions, right? How many interviews are you going to do? 3 maybe? You kind of do that initial interview. Are they cultural fit? So on. Then you might, maybe if it's a technical role, have a second interview where there's a cultural fit. Sometimes it's just one. Right. An assistant might just be one. And then you do the core values presentation. So it might be 2 or 3 interviews. If you did them all in like 1 or 2 days versus you spread it over 3 weeks, what changed?
Yeah.
Literally nothing.
Right.
Other than time.
Yes. Just dragged it along.
You just dragged it along.
And then, all right, within 24 hours, make the decision.
Yeah. And at the end of the core values, like, oh, is this the right one or not? Like
that day.
That day. Yeah. After the core values, say, hey, should we hire? Yes. This is a good alignment. Call them up. Hey, we want to offer you the position.
Yeah, we're offering it.
Yeah, and if you're waffling on it, they might already find another job and go somewhere else because you took too long.
Yeah. When you think about success in life, success is different for everybody. What do you what do you define it as? Like when you're trying to assess, all right, am I having the success I want in my life? How do you take a look at that, and how do you
that's
assess it?
That's a good question. So one thing I think about a lot is if I'm in my 90s, laying on my deathbed,
Yeah.
and let's say I had unlimited money and I was laying there, what would I give up to go back in time
Mm-hmm.
to a certain period and do a certain action?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what would I want to change and what would I go back? And so I do value time from that lens, because for me personally, it doesn't matter how much money I'd have. If they said, hey, if you give it all up and you go to broke, homeless, but you're 20 again, would you give it up? I give up every last cent to do it again.
But you keep your knowledge.
But I keep my knowledge.
Because you see, that's right, important.
Absolutely, exactly. So I think about that. So I would give it up. I would give up all of it to go back to do it. So then I think about my time like that. I'm like, okay, what am I spending my time on? What am I doing with my family? And if you lose a loved one, you probably give up everything to have that loved one. Or if you were, on your deathbed, you would give up everything to go back in time and just, spend another weekend together. So those are all important things. And so everything I do with my business and work has to support those big goals. For me, I have a lot of spiritual goals. I have a lot of, personal goals, and the financial goals just support that.
Right. You need that to make it happen.
Yeah. The money is just the freedom tool.
Right. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about that, because a lot of people don't associate money with freedom, and I do.
Yes.
I agree with you there.
Yes.
Why someone might be watching us or listening to this and be like, what does he mean money is freedom?
Yeah, I want to go on a vacation with my whole family, and I'm gonna, bring my in-laws and some of my friends, and they don't have the money for it, so I'm just gonna pay for the whole thing, right? That's freedom.
Right.
Going where you want, when you want, with who you want, how you want. That's amazing. Also, when it comes, unfortunately, I think about. I'll give you an example. My brother broke his. He herniated his disc. He's a fireman,
mm-hmm.
and he's had 2 back surgeries. And the last 5 years, he has been in excruciating pain. Where this guy used to surfboard, snowboard. He was one of the most active guys in the world, and now he's just like he was like crippled. And I looked into like stem cell treatment. And there's a clinic that has been on Joe Rogan, really famous. They do injections right into the spine,
mm-hmm.
huge success, and very pricey.
Yeah.
I was able to pay for that for him.
That's awesome.
I'm like, boom, like I can do that because I was able to do that. And that's not a boast. But I'm proud that I could do that for him.
Has it improved his situation?
Yeah, we're starting a 10X health clinic now in San Diego.
Right.
So, I mean, it's changed his life in a lot of ways.
Right.
And yeah, that's just, everybody wants to do that for people, but I'm sorry, that's money. If you don't have the money, you just can't do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You can't do certain things. And so that's just one example of freedom.
Yeah. So, when I hear you talking about time, I always look at time. Am I spending time or am I investing time right now?
Yeah.
Same thing with money. Am I spending money or am I investing money? Am I investing my time because spending is just wasting?
Yeah.
And so what I think I hear you're saying about success is being able to reflect back, and you don't have a lot. You don't look back and be like, you know what? I wasted a lot of time.
Yeah.
And I regret doing that. Everything I was doing was very intentional. I invested it, especially with my time and what I was doing with it.
I love that concept of spending time and investing time. It's really good because, you could, in both cases, you could maybe, taking it to the business example, you could be spending time or investing time. And probably on the personal level too, I'm probably guilty of this. I'm spending time with my wife.
Right.
But I'm also looking at Instagram while she's trying to talk to me and she's not loving it, right? So that's not an investment of time. Or if you're with your kids and you're not present for them. You're just spending it, but it was a waste, right?
Yeah, right. It's not effective.
And the same thing goes for work, right? You could be working, but you're not investing it in a way that it's going to hit a result that actually produces something.
Yes.
And that's a concept that I remember my mom used to always say, life isn't fair. Because when you're a kid, you're like, that's not fair. And my mom always used to say, life isn't fair.
Right. She's right.
She's right. And that was a good lesson she taught me, because I learned in business, it is not fair. Like, okay, you worked really hard. You deserve a raise. It would be fair to have a raise. But guess what? If the business didn't produce money, there's no money for you for a raise. The world pays you on result, not on fairness or hard work.
Yep.
It takes hard work to get a result, but hard work doesn't always equal a result. And then, you learn that.
And sometimes the results don't come as fast as you want.
It could take time. It's not as much as you want.
Right.
It's less than you want. And you're like, that's not fair. But hey,
the
sooner you can accept that life is not fair, the better it is for you.
Yeah.
Because now you're not thinking about fairness. You're thinking about, what actions do I need to take to get a result that's going to help me and my family get to the goal, or my business towards the goal, right? Yeah. Clients don't pay you based on fair, like, oh, you did the best presentation and you spent the most time, but
so I want to be fair.
I want to be fair. No, they don't. It's on a result.
Right. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, man, so super. Like, you're so impressive.
You're impressive, man. I'm trying to catch up with you.
I don't know about that. I learn a lot from you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. So it's been great. I'm just really excited about next year. Whenever I'm nervous, I always like to tell myself I'm excited, and then I get excited. And it brings a lot of excitement. So next year is going to be a great year. I'm really excited.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks so much for coming on the show today. If our audience wants to find you, how can they find you on Instagram or wherever else they can find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram. King Spear is my handle. I'm on LinkedIn, probably a little bit on YouTube and Facebook as well. Website to our business is fitsolutions.biz,
right?
fitsolutions.biz, and love helping people with IT cybersecurity problems. So, or just anything. I just realized that knowing a lot of people is good.
The right people.
The right people. Yeah. Not a lot of people. That's wrong. The thing. But you want to have a big network of the right people, and being in the
people that align with the life you're trying to create.
Absolutely. That I think is really big. You need to be with the people that are trying to do what you're trying to do. And if you're not, you're going to go off the rails.
That's why I invited you here.
Thank you. I remember when we came to you invited me, we kind of met through, Brandon Dawson and different things. And you're like, oh yeah, I'm selling my place in Pennsylvania. Why don't you come out hunting with me? And then I remember when I called you, I said, hey, I want to come. You're like, no one actually comes. You're the first person. I've invited like so many people, and you're the first guy to come. I'm like, yeah, I said I'm going to come. I'm going to come.
I love it. You actually take some action.
So, yeah. So, but that was great. And now we're dear friends and doing things together. It's amazing.
All right. Awesome. Hey, there's another episode of Steve Lags Unfiltered. Stay tuned for next week's episode.
That's all for today's Steve Lags Unfiltered journey. Keep soaring, leading, and conquering with us. Remember, it's not just about listening. It's about learning and taking action. If today ignited your drive, join us next time for more unfiltered wisdom. Subscribe, rate, and leave a review to fuel your success journey. Also, be sure to listen to us on your favorite podcast channel or outlet. Stay tuned, stay unfiltered, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Boom.